December begins, crafting makes nights long. We come together where we belong. With paper and glue, our hearts we render, crafting joy in Dephemerember. Dephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright. Across the world our spirits soar, creating together forevermore.
Welcome to December 3, our second day of using our Dephemerember prompts. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. So to start off, I hope you enjoyed the song that you heard part of in the intro. This is a very, very special song that Luise and I created especially for this experience this year. You will hear it more often throughout our videos. We are very, very proud, and I have to admit, the very first time I heard the final version of this song, I completely broke down sobbing. Uncontrollably, not just a tear running down my cheek, but seriously bawling my eyes out, because this song says it all. And it's about the community, it's about what we share with each other and the special place it has in our hearts, how we are all connected through this amazing craft of junk journaling. Talking about it now, I'm getting total goosebumps again. So I hope you enjoyed hearing part of this song as well. If you want the full experience, you can find that linked in my shop below. And along with the MP3 download, you will also receive the lyrics of the song handwritten by Luise and myself. So that comes only with the song. If you still have not had a chance to print the prompt list, again, you can find it linked on our Dephemerember info pages, which are linked below this video. For anyone who tried to print a screenshot from our social media and you cannot read it, please go to our info pages and print it from there. There, it's in good quality and you can read it like you can read it here. So please do that if you're struggling with reading your prompts. So yesterday we kicked off with Altered Playing Card and Antique Keys. And we are on December 3, which is Layered Tag and Retro Film Strip. And I also want to clarify, if you think that Luise and I already know what to do for each of these, we do not. I have not looked at this prompt list since we decided on the prompts, which was a couple of months ago. This is basically as fresh and new for me as for you. And I don't have a clue about what to do for any of these prompts. I am struggling just as much as you are. I want you to know that. And I remember from past Dephemerembers that it gets easier with time. I think the first week is the toughest one because you're trying to get into it. Maybe you're not used to working with prompts. And it maybe takes a while to get your brain into prompt mode. But believe me, it gets easier. So we'll struggle together for this prompt. I have a few ideas, which is why I already grabbed a little bit of supplies. Of course, I have my scrap basket here with the scraps from Dear Luise. And of course, I have my journal here. And same thing as yesterday, I think I'm going to do 2 parts. I don't know why this is happening this year, but my brain is somehow having trouble putting the 2 prompts together into one piece of ephemera, but I hope that will get better with time. So bear with me. But having said that, there's nothing wrong with creating 2 pieces if you don't want to combine the 2 prompts. I mean, I think I will combine them somehow, but I'm not sure how yet. So the part I know kind of what I want to do is the retro film strip part. So I do actually have a retro film strip here, an original one that I found at a secondhand shop. So this is really fun to have. This would be really fun to use, and maybe I will use a part of it. I'm not sure yet. But the reason why I don't actually want to use it is this is something that most of you will not have on hand, because why should you? If you do, then you have it probably with some family films on it, which obviously you're not going to want to use for a project like this. And I thought about scanning this, but this is someone's personal film, so I didn't want to do that either. And then I thought, well, I could maybe scan this part here, but I think this is probably copyrighted, so I couldn't do that either. So I came up with something else. Whoops. Because you guys are just so awesome, I decided to give you another freebie. So we have some film strips here. We have them in different sizes, so you can do with them whatever you want. And I specifically wanted to leave the insides blank so that you can do with them whatever you want. And by the way, I'm assuming you know already, Luise is also making a video for the same prompts on the same days at the same time. So whatever you see in my video, if you haven't already, you can hop on over to Luise's channel, and her playlist is linked below, and see what she came up with for the same prompt, which I think is so exciting. And I cannot wait to see what Luise has come up with for the same prompts, because you know it's probably going to be very, very different than mine. Okay, so what I wanted to actually do, I'm not sure which page I will choose yet, but it doesn't matter. This is about the size for the moment. So I want to cut one of these film strips. Probably I'll cut it off after the 3 windows here. And by the way, I printed this on, I think it's 180 GSM cardstock. If you do not have cardstock to print on, you can just print it on regular copy paper, and then before you cut it out, you glue it onto thicker cardstock. I want to make this into a tuck spot, so I do want this to be sturdy. And I'm also going to cut out the little windows in here, because I want to add something into the windows. Could use a Stanley knife, but small scissors like this work really well also. And for me, this is easier working with scissors than with a Stanley knife, especially around the corners. So once I have my windows cut out, I'm going to ink up the edges, not like yesterday where I forgot. And I'll also take one of these makeup brushes, use the same walnut stain, and go over the edges so that these white parts here on the border are not so white. And then I thought for a retro film strip, it would be nice to have some retro photos. It's not absolutely necessary, because actually I also really love the contrast of vintage and modern. So that would be another fun idea, to put something completely modern inside here. It would also be fun to put something in here, like not 3 individual images, but one long image, like a flower or something. I could imagine that. But I decided to go with these photos. These are now available in my shop. They're called Retro Girl Photo Sheet, and there's 2 pages. And because you guys are so fabulous, I have a Dephemerember discount for you, which you can see on the screen here now. So please note that, because I will not put it in the description box. And the discount is valid until January 31st, 2025. So please don't stress yourself. I mean, it'll be available afterwards anyway, but the discount code is for minus 25% until end of January. So I'm going to choose 3 of these photos, and they are wider than my film strip. So I will choose, well, actually any of these would work. Yeah, I will just have to cut it down. The biggest challenge is choosing which ones I want to use. I think I want a mixture of black and white and colored. Okay, this might take a while for me to choose, so I will show you once I have my 3 cuties chosen. So I've chosen my 3 photos and I've cut them out, and I just want to mention that I placed these photos so that they would have a white border. So if you wanted to, you could cut them out with a white border. So I changed my mind a little bit and I chose 3 black and white photos because there's a story to go with them. So we're going to imagine that these were found in the attic in an old shoebox from an unknown family. And we don't know the stories of these girls, but we can definitely make up our own stories. So these are 3 sisters. And I'm going to name the oldest one Clara. She's the serious yet very loving eldest sister, and she takes on the role of the caretaker. And this is more like a quiet moment. And this photo was taken just before a big event like a picnic or a family gathering. Then we have the middle sister. Her name is Evelyn, and she is a bit mischievous. And she's known for wandering off on her own to explore the woods or maybe a nearby creek. And she always brings back treasures like smooth stones or even wildflowers that she would give to their youngest sister, little Margaret. She is the dreamer of the family. And she loves to read and she loves to journal. And she often escapes into her imagination, spinning tales of faraway lands and magical adventures. So now I just need to cut these down to fit into my frames. So I'll take a pencil and I'll trace the frame and then just cut a little bigger than my pencil mark. It would be really cool if you had some actual family photos that you could put in there. By the way, I printed these photos on 130 GSM matte photo paper. And as I always say, please print in best quality, not your standard normal quality. With your printer settings, it makes such a huge difference for your print. And again, if you do not have a printer or you're not happy with your printer, please Google for local online print services where you just upload your images and they will mail you the actual prints. Okay, now I don't just want to add these like that. I want to add another fun element here because these are girls. And I thought, what if we tried to make some kind of a shaker film strip? Because I have some wintry sequins here. Some cute snowflakes in silver and some white round ones. And those would be fun to put in here. And I thought I could use this packaging to put over the photos. So how do I do this? Let me cut this sticky part off. Let's cut this part. So I think it would make sense to have this acetate the same size as the photos, right? That also adds the glossy element that, of course, an actual film strip would have. So once I have all my acetate pieces cut, we could just glue around 3 edges. But I am going to sew it because I think that is easier and that way I don't have to wait for the glue to dry. So I'll do that with all 3 and leave the top open. Okay, so these are all, whoops, these are all sewn up. Slippery little buggers. Okay, so let's try this. I know usually with a shaker card, you would leave a bit of a distance. So you would use foam tape along the sides. Or you could do that as well, actually. But I don't think that's absolutely necessary. I could imagine this sequence also floating around without the foam tape. And I think it was last year, Dephemerember, I had a round piece of ephemera where I added the foam tape around it. Oh my goodness, it was such a hassle. Like that foam tape was so sticky, I ruined my scissors and it was just horrible. So I'm happy not to do that again this year. Okay, they obviously don't move as freely, but I'm okay with that. So I won't put in that many. But how cute is that? I love that. So that gives it kind of a Christmassy spirit. I think some of you are actually using all the prompts in a Christmassy way, which is amazing, or other themes as well. I remember reading one of your comments saying that you were making a book about your parents and you're going to use the prompts. How fun is that? That is like the super challenge. So there's the second one. I love this. How cute. Good job, Barbara. Don't forget to praise yourself if you're happy with something. So now we still need, yeah, I can just sew the top closed, or again, you could just glue it closed. I'll just go and sew that. So they're all closed up, and now I just need to glue them behind my film strip. I guess you could also sew them. I'll just glue them. So the youngest one, what did I name her? Margaret. The middle one was Evelyn. And the oldest one, the caretaker, was Clara. So there we are. Are they moving? They're moving a little bit. Not as much as in a regular shaker card, but that's fine because this is a tuck spot. So I'm not going to be able to take this out anyway. So in order to move them, I have to shake the whole journal. And since I don't want my ephemera to get stuck when I put something in, because of course now we have these edges of the paper here, I want to have a smooth back, so I will glue that onto another piece of cardstock, which also makes it a bit more sturdy even. So now we have a nice smooth back, and we'll just ink up the edges one more time. So let's find a page to add this to, preferably a vintage looking one. This would be vintage, but it's actually a pocket and it's not very sturdy. This one has a hole here. We already have a photo here, so no. This could be a good spot. Let's keep that one in mind. Oh, I actually really love it there because, first of all, it's a vintage page, even though unfortunately I'm covering up the clock here, but that's okay. And Luise added some shimmery spray here, which I think it's silver, and I think it matches really well with my silver stars in here. Yeah, I really like it there. I mean, we could even add it as a belly band, and that way we wouldn't lose the clocks. But actually there's too much going on here now. It takes the focus away from the girl, so I'd actually rather cover them up. So either I put it down here and glue it here and here, and that way it's a tuck spot. Another option is to put some fabric underneath, and then we could have it in the middle. I mean, we could have it in the middle in any case. Even just glue it on this side. Yeah, I think I want it in the middle. Let's leave that for now. And we of course still need the layered tag element. And I need to use something from Luise's scraps. Now let me take out all of the vintage looking pieces because we could definitely layer those. Even this would be cute. And these could, of course, be little snippets that we found in the box together with the photos. Like this was a letter that her parents had received. Here's another old postcard. Oh, and this was a doily from maybe their grandmother. Maybe we could use some of that. There's another piece. Here's a pocket with an old map. This map looks like a vintage hiking map. So this is where their dad used to go hiking. Yeah, that's it. So we have a lot of pieces to play with. Plus, of course, I can add some bits from my own stash. So I have gathered some more things from my own stash that I can play with to embellish my layered tag. Also, I have this gorgeous piece of Tim Holtz fabric. This one is called Curator Multi. Absolutely gorgeous. And I also found this box. This was, of course, also in the attic. So this must have been the box that Margaret, the youngest one, where she had collected all her dried flowers that she had pressed in her books. So we need to add something from here as well. And I'm going to use bits from here that I can then layer on top of each other. And I want to make this look a bit more vintage. So I'm going to take a foam brush. You can also take a regular brush and some coffee. So this is very cheap instant coffee, the same one I use for when I dye my papers. So this layered tag would have been a tag that we also found in that box in the attic. I think it was made together by Clara, the oldest one, with the help of Margaret, the dreamer and the journaler and the artistic one. It was Clara's idea because she wanted to preserve the memories for her younger sisters, and since Margaret is the more creative one, she asked for her help. And we'll also be adding some more photos as focal points, which would have been, oh, we should do the back as well, which would have been some of their relatives, like their cousins, and maybe some of the neighbor children that they used to play with, some of their friends from school maybe that they played with. Okay, we let this dry. So it's a bit later. As you can see, I have all my strips cut out. After I let the first layer of coffee dry, I splattered some more coffee, let it dry, splattered again and let it dry. On the back, I only did it once because I loved this way it looked, because this really looks vintage to me. I love that more so than the front. I think the surface on the back here, yeah, it's smoother, so the coffee reacts very differently. This is just perfection in my eyes for a vintage look. This one looks like it's dripped coffee, but I still like the way it looks. So my idea is to take this piece here as the base of the tag, and then we could use these two as like flaps, something like that. And then for the back side, I could add that like this, maybe like that. The thing is, that's a lot of layers, and once we start adding embellishments, this is going to, of course, become quite thick. Might be too many layers. Okay, let's, for the moment, just attach these front two and see how we do with that. So I'll cut some strips from this gorgeous fabric, or rather I'll tear them, and we can use those to hinge our pieces. So I have trimmed these down to, oh, that's the wrong one, to the length of the pieces that I'm going to attach. So let's do this one first. And I'm going to put it on the outside. Alternatively, you could also put it on the inside. No, I'll put it on the outside. So this is just some PVA glue thinned down a little bit with water. And we just line the two pieces up and put our fabric around it. And that way it flips really nicely. And we do the same for the other piece, of course. So I quickly dried these with my heat tool, and I see on the back here I have some glossy glue bits right here. You see that? And I am not a fan of those. So I have this glue eraser. You can literally look up glue eraser and you will find these. And these are just magical because they really get rid of the glossy glue. It also rubbed away a little part of the coffee, as you can see. And yeah, it's just the tiniest bit glossy here, but that I can live with. It's a lot better than it was before. See, now already these don't want to stay closed and there's nothing even on them yet. So I need to figure out how to do that because that's really going to get on my nerves. Next, I want to add some more interest on these papers. I'm going to do some stamping with this stamp set by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz, which has the name Faded Type CMS 397. I will link this for you below. I think I'll do a variation of these stamps. I'll use my black archival ink, or will I? I want a lot of contrast, so I think this is the way to go. So that's the inside, and then we need to do these two. And let's do some on the back as well. I don't know yet what's happening, if anything is happening on the back. Okay. So I have all my materials laid out here, and now it's just a matter of layering bits and pieces. They all go together, so I don't have to worry about what matches and what doesn't. That is super helpful. And I'm going to add some of these photos. And I want to use the colored ones because I think the contrast is really nice, rather than if we use the black and white ones. I mean, they're not really black and white, they're more sepia, but you see how they don't really come out enough. I think it's much more interesting when you have this, right? By the way, I saw that on one of the leaves, apparently, I'm guessing it was Margaret. She already decorated this leaf. So why don't we use that one? Because that's very festive and goldy. Maybe we can even put that right here. And then maybe find one of these that I could just trim down so that we would still see part of the leaf.
When December begins, crafting makes nights long. We come together where we belong. With paper and glue, our hearts we render.
I have a few of these numbers here. They are numbers for a quality check, and I find these in packages of organic rocket. You know, the green leaves. So I always keep these. I've just recently discovered these in one of the supermarket chains we have here. For anyone from Austria, if you go to Billa, if you buy the organic rucola, they have these inside. It's always fun to add different methods to attach things. Gives you more texture. And we could use one of these tiny paper clips to keep it shut. I think that's the easiest solution. So let's pick another photo that we can cut down. Maybe this one, yeah.
Dephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright. Across the world our spirits soar, creating together forevermore.
Oh no, we have the leaf on the other side. That's not gonna work. It's gonna cover up our leaf. No. Maybe on top? I guess. I would have much preferred on the side, but that's what happens when you don't plan ahead. That's the downside of working in baby steps.
From simple scraps to colors bold, we wrap our stories into gold. Each prompt a spark, a joyful ember.
Love the contrast. I really think this is the most fun part of any project. It's just to see what you have and how you can combine things. Cute! I'm super happy with this. This also needs something. So both of these small stamps are from the Tim Holtz set Field Notes.
Dephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright. Across the world our spirits soar, creating together forevermore. We share our dreams, our smiles and tears, building bonds that last for years. Through every craft, yours and mine, we find love in this special time.
Now I need something for here. She's cute.
As scissors cut and colors flow, our community continues to grow. With each creation, love we render, binding us close in Dephemerember. Dephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright. Across the world our spirits soar, creating together forevermore. So here's to us, both near and far.
Cute. Now she has a real flower in her hair. Love it.
Crafting joy no matter where we are. In every fold and cut, remember, we're bound by love in Dephemerember.
This is actually a name, but I can't read the first name. But that's her name.
When December begins, crafting makes nights long. We come together where we belong. With paper and glue, our hearts we render, crafting joy in Dephemerember. Dephemerember, where hearts unite. With every piece we shine so bright. Across the world our spirits soar.
This is perfect. January 12th, 1946. Because these images are from the 1940s. So how perfect is this? Oh my goodness. Could not have planned this any better. Thank you, Luise, for this amazing scrap.
Creating together forevermore. From From simple scraps to colors bold, we wrap our stories into.
Okay, so this is done, and I think it makes more sense to have this one on the top since it says number 1. Because by coincidence, without even thinking now, this totally works out. I have 1, then I have 2 and 3. That kind of just happened. So these are the childhood friends and neighbors and relatives. Documented now, and I'm going to leave the back as it is because I don't want it to get super bulky. I think this is bulky enough. So going back to the journal. I wonder if it's too many photos on one place. This is a bit overwhelming, isn't it? Yeah, it's too much. This should go here. I have no doubt in my mind about that. So I will glue this down here and we can leave that for another prompt. I'm sure we'll find something that will fit in here. And I can always still glue this part down if I need to. Should this go on this page? First of all, I want to take this tiny paper clip and now put it on this side since this is our top flap. Maybe not in her eye, Barbara. There. If we put it here somehow. No, that's still too much. This should not be on the same page. But I don't really want to make another tuck spot or something. Oh, look, it's her mom. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Luise. Yep, she needs to go in here. Although it would be nice if we would see her. So maybe, I'm thinking maybe we should do this after all because I'm hoping that we can see the, yeah, look, we can see her face. That is cute. And I would say we are done with prompt for December 3rd. Whoop whoop. I am so curious what you're going to come up with. Enjoy your freebie. I don't know if Luise also has a freebie. Don't miss out. So go check out her video if you have not. Check out all the links below for anything you still need. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.